Said I made up my mind this time. I'm taking it over. Modest tranquility. Said I made up my mind this time. I'm taking it over.
Have you ever looked at the moon and felt like it was looking back at you? Not just watching, but revealing. Because what if the moon isn't just a rock in the sky? What if it's a lens that reflects everything inside you? Your emotions, your thoughts, your energy. Not creating it, just exposing it. And when that light hits, you feel it. Restlessness, tension, intensity. That's not the moon controlling you. That's you being revealed. Because when your energy is eclipsed, you don't disappear. You fragment. Scattered thoughts, unfocused energy, emotions you can't explain. That's the eclipse. Not outside. Inside. But then the full moon rises. And everything hidden comes to the surface. Amplified. Louder. Heavier. Harder to ignore. And most people react. They lash out. They lose control. They get pulled by the wave. But emotional intelligence, there's something different. It observes. It doesn't run. It doesn't react. It sees. Because the moment you see it, you can control it. So you center yourself. You breathe. You slow down. You come back to you. Because your energy was never out there. It was always here, inside you. So you stop outsourcing it. No validation, no permission, just source, your source. And when you tap into that, everything changes. Now the energy moves, you create, you build, you express, you flow. Because energy that flows transforms, but energy that's blocked explodes. So you stay aware of your cycles, your emotions, your patterns. You adjust the lens over and over and over again until one day you realize something: the moon never controlled you. It never held your power. It only showed you what was already there. So don't fear the light, don't fear the intensity. That's not weakness, that's exposure, that's truth, that's your energy trying to break free. So observe it, center it, draw from yourself, and let it flow. Because your power was never missing. It was only eclipsed. support while blind to what you already were.
He didn't give,
He took away sight,
turned wholeness into hunger.
truth into a fight. You were already caught before the fracture, before the cost.
No chains, no throne to climb above.
You were already gone. You were already free. No need for eyes to make you see.
The lie was left, the root, the seed.
You were already. Tradition born the moment that you chose to see through eyes that measured high and low. Good and evil carved into the mind. A prison built from knowledge undefined. You traded being for the need to know. A shattered mirror is the world you hold. Now every shadow whispers you're not whole, but that illusion is the greatest. Who taught you you were empty?
Who taught you you were
Who
small?
taught you to forget yourself?
Call that a fall.
You didn't rise. You descended into division. You didn't gain. You accepted limitation. The fruit was not power. It was perception fraction. You were already caught before the fracture, before the cost.
No chains, no throne to climb above.
You were already caught. You were already whole. No missing piece, no distant goal.
The lie was written in your doubt.
Now tear it out. Remember. Return. You were already.
Faced the beast, I felt its claws, I've seen its feast. It whispers lies, it feeds on fear, but I stand strong, the path is clear. The shadows crawl, the weak may fall, deception spreads to choke us all. I won't be fooled, I won't comply, I raise my voice, I will not die. Rise from the ashes, break every chain. Truth is our weapon, fury our flame. The world may tremble, the night may scream, but we are stronger than what we've seen. I've beaten the base, I face the night. Now who stands with me to claim the fight? No more lies, no more night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Oh, hell yeah. I am really tempted to rock out that damn Super G again. Let me see what something looks like here. Let's try something. How's that look with the dark in the back? I don't know. But hey, I am loving this Super G music coming through, that Billy Idol one. Hell, that's my jam now, baby. I am turned up tonight. This will be a deep program to remember. I know we got a couple people say, when's it gonna start? It done been starting. It done been starting, baby. Tonight, I'm Jeffrey Darty, the Christian whistleblower, just like I was last time you saw me. And tonight we're talking about aliens are demons. We're going to start putting these pieces all together. And wow, I am freaking excited tonight. We got a lot to do and all night to do it. We may be here for a while tonight. I am turned up. I really am. This is some good stuff rocking in here. I don't know why that blue light doesn't look very good there. Let's change the color. Let's change the color on that. We got high technology around here. You know what I'm saying? We got some high-tech. I'm a high-tech redneck. Boom. Oh, that's better. I like it. The rain's starting to fall, and boom, we're getting ready to go. Let's do something a little different tonight. Let's start with some Cousins content. I'm going to go to my Gmail. I got to get my damn keyboard out of here. It's dark. Good thing I know how to type. Let's go to some Cousins content, and then I may throw open the lines and do some rods. Oh, my package is shipped. What shipped? Oh, my new toothpaste. Man, Redmond Salt. It's got the greatest toothpaste. Let me tell you about Focus Life Force Energy. Send you a high consciousness environment to your home, to your phone. Go to realgospeltruth.com. Click on the Focus Life Force Energy logo. You got to pull down a little bit. And you can order your Focus Life Force Energy. They give you 2 weeks free, month free, I'm not sure, but you don't even have to list a freaking credit card. So it's really, really good stuff. Check it out. Also, Nanosoma. I was off it for a minute. I'm a big believer again. It's really done some good stuff for me. I invite you to get in there and try your Nanosoma. So let's look at some Cousins content here. That's what we used to call it. Let's call it some. Anyway, Oh, let me do this. Hey, I got a new sponsor, ladies and gentlemen. We got a new sponsor. It's the Ghost. What do they call it? It's an energy drink. And I drink the Ghost because I'm white. But don't worry, if you're black, they got one called Shadow for you. And if you're brown, they got one. It's called, what's it called? It's called Shade. And then they got one for our Asian cousins. It's called Sunrise. And then if you're one of our red cousins, they got Sunset. Of course, I'm joking. It's kind of April Fool's, but I know that Cynthia's grandson drinks these. My son-in-law drinks these. I saw one carb. I was getting some for Cynthia. I'm like, why not? I'm going to try this baby. I'm going to pop it, and I don't need any more energy, but we're going to get crazy in here tonight. Okay, so back to this. Clearstead Advisors. This comes from the lovely and talented Colleen. Clearstead Advisors, Cleveland, Ohio, named Avalon Trust, New Mexico, 2023. Julia Peters, who then and now works for Clearstead Avalon Trust, New Mexico, is the one that was appointed, allegedly, by Gene Hackman to handle his estate. Originally, as I told you the last D program, Michael Sutton was chosen, but he croaked in 2019. So Avalon Trust was appointed, which is now Clearstead Avalon Trust. And by the way, it's in the Cayman Islands. And the latest release of what's become known as the Epstein Files contains more than 1,000 mentions of Cayman Islands. Although there's no evidence of any links to the criminal activities of the notorious sex offender, Colleen also doing a deep dive. We're going to do it as well. Aliens, J.D. Vance, Ohio, where Brando's from. And bam, yeah, we got that going on. So that's our first cousins entry. You're going to see a theme. Colleen sends me a lot of this stuff. And then what else do we got? Randall, Sunday, I'm going to break out the birth certificate deprogram. That's coming on Not Your Normal Sunday, coming up Sunday at 7 p.m. Central. Do your own math to figure out your time. Come on. All right. If it's 7 Central, that means it's 8 Eastern and 5 out on the left coast. You guys have heard about this, but it still warrants some mentioning. Here we go from Slay News, which I kind of like. Oh, son of a gun, the Charlie Kirk bombshell. The bullet doesn't match the suspect's gun. And tell me that this dude, forgot his name, Tyler Robinson. Tell me he don't look like Charlie Kirk. He's a little bit of a chopped Charlie Kirk, but he kind of looks like Charlie Kirk. This is what Charlie Kirk would have looked like after a couple more years with Erica. But, bam, there you go. Charlie Kirk. The damn bullet doesn't match the gun. Of course, it didn't really happen anyway. So, hey, what can you say? What can you say, right? So there's a couple good hits right there. How about this one? Oh, I got to show you this. This'll, you'll be like, no, Jeff, there's just no freaking way. But yeah, way. Check this out. Check this out. Are you ready for this? You're not, but watch it anyway.
We knew it, we wouldn't be able to sleep. Like the video. Let's check it out.
Don't they look delicious? Some triple thick McDonald's shakes. Oh. Oh. We can always make good use of that. Ah, here they are. Triple thick McDonald's shakes. Why, they're empty. Hey, you sure can get a lot in these bags. Can't you?
Well, this is creepy. It says the truth in plain sight.
My bad. The president's son invested, I think that's Eric, in a war drone company 11 days before a war started. The company is now part of a Pentagon program spending $1.1 billion on drones. Oh boy, what the hell happened there, right? February 17, vice president of the Trump organization. Somebody's stomping. I got it. Relax. I got it. So, I'm not muted anymore. I got it, right? Yeah, we got it. So, I'm not still muted. Let me go over here and see if I'm still muted. I don't think I'm still muted. But anyway, if I'm still muted, tell me again. But vice president of the Trump organization invested $1.5 billion. Of course, it's conflict of interest. And Donald Trump Jr. is making some money off Daddy bombing Iran. Anybody surprised by that? If you are, raise your hand. If you are, you're not paying attention if you're surprised. Let me see if I got one more here. Do I got one more here? Guess who the earliest born person ever captured on film was? Guess who? This comes from Dagger. Guess who the first person captured on film was? Would you be surprised to know, and there's no sound on this one, don't get excited. I don't think there is. Would you be surprised to know it was the Pope? The Pope. First guy ever on video. I don't know which Pope Leo the 13th. Pope Leo. There he is. The first one ever on video. Isn't that crazy? Are you freaking kidding me right now? I'll tell you. Crazy. So, let's get rid of that. So, let's transition into Rod questions. I'm not going to open the lines. Just put your Rod questions in the chat. They have to be yes or no. It has to be a question that can be answered yes or no. So Colleen in with a Rod question, and I love this. Donald Trump in 2020, October the 2nd, 2020, that's a 246 by the way, Donald Trump announced that he tested positive for COVID-19 on Friday, October the 2nd, 2020. That same day, now do the math, he was transferred to Walter Reed National Military Center for treatment. Do the math. Hospitalized on October 2nd, discharged on October 5. He spent 3 days and 3 nights at Walter Reed Hospital. 3 days and 3 nights. Oops, sorry. I didn't even show you that. Let me show you my receipts. I'm big on my receipts. He was hospitalized on October the 2nd, 2020, discharged on October 5, 2020. Are you freaking kidding me? Yeah. Boom. So how about that? And if you send me some clips and videos, we'll do the clips and videos. Let me find the rods. All right, here we go. So, yes or no questions. And Colleen's question was, did Trump get replaced with a robot when he got COVID? He spent 3 days and 3 nights. He's back. But guess what? At least we got proof that Donald Trump came out after 3 days and 3 nights. No proof of Jesus. None. I just thought I'd throw that in there. So, Colleen's question. What was her question again? Her question was Trump replaced with a robot when he spent 3 days and 3 nights in Walter Reed Hospital? Well, let's see. Did Donald Trump get replaced after 3 days and 3 nights at Walter Reed? The rods say yes. Oh, my goodness. And I don't even think that was the original Trump. So we may be on Trump 3.0 right now. So what else do we got? Rapid Dog with a Rod question. Is Donald Trump Barron's biological father? Yes. But how about this one? Is Melania Donald Barron Trump's biological mother? All the rods say no. Is Ivanka Donald Barron Trump's biological mother? All the rods say yes. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? How about that? Do we have another rod question? Do we have another rod question? That's two of them. That's two of them. Maybe replaced with a programmed clone. That's very possible. Wow, exactly. Is Trump a man? Huh. I would go yes with that one. Is Donald Trump a biological male from birth? The rods say yes. He's too damn big for that. Okay, the original DJT's living inside Cheyenne Mountain, says New England Dirt Roadie. You know what? I would not bet against that, New England Dirt Roadie. And you know I was just messing with you. You're a good dude. We appreciate you. We're glad you're here. Maybe one more rod question. Just one more. Maybe. I think that when Wayne, what's wrong with Wayne? Watch his video of today and explain that. Okay. I'll watch it. So what was I just thinking about saying? Got my train of thought interrupted. Oh, I say this is a good one. Jay Bing, and this will maybe one more. Is Erica Kirk a biological woman from birth? Oh, it says no. Oh, my goodness. My goodness. Exactly, New England. Love you. Love you. Is MJ, who's MJ? Michael Jackson? Ahee! Is MJ an alien? Let's see. Is Michael an alien? Maybe kind of sort of in a way is how I read that one. So, rod questions done. Melanie's in. Nice to see you. Oh yeah, let's say hi to everybody that's in. I tried to set it up for Goyam tonight. Doesn't look like I got it right because I am not live on Goyam. Sorry about that. I'll get with HT tomorrow and see what's going on. So we got Bella, we got Kylie, we got Auden, we got Brando in there. We got Jay Bing. Desiree is here. Who else is here? We got, oh, come on now. Roll with me. We got Ren Star in the His Owl. Great to see you again, Ren Star. Crowfoot, Deborah Truax, F. Bammer, and we got JT. We got the aforementioned New England Dirt Roadie. Claudette is in the His Owl. Matthew Garvin is all up in here. And we got, it looks like that's about it. I think that's showing up. Her Majesty is here. Smoochie is, of course, here. Foster Kennel is here. Brad is here. Arthur King. If I miss you, it's just a Dr. Frank and Leah Life Changers are here, or at least one of them. Let's see who else is here. Another CGI moon landing. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Emperor Rex is here. Dave Mack is here. Grizzly Whisker is here. James Rounds. Oh, man, this is awesome. Patton Wolf is here. The many manifestations of our good friend. And come on, guys. There's so many of you. I like it. I like it. Did I say Claudette? I think I did. Bella. Bella is in the house. Great to see you, Bella. Who else? Who else? Venus Latte. Eye of Panther. Did the timeline jump last night? I don't know if it did or not. Okay. Are you ready for the D program? Are you ready for some unindoctrination? Wall to wall, treetop tall, coast to coast, border to border, and beyond. Because here we go. Aliens are demons. And here's the first sip of the ghosts. It's for the white people. Get your shadow, get your shade, get your sunset, and get your sunrise if you're Asian. Ooh, that's good stuff. I like it. I like it. I like it. All right. F off and stay out of my field of view. Ooh. Do we have some crossness going on in the chat? Okay. Leah's here. All right, so here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Let's take a look at this presentation. This one, it's 100 pages. I don't know if we'll get through it tonight. 20 hours into this, but Coast to Coast, which I've been on, 14, 13, 15 times, and Fox News, reporting that J.D. Vance says he's obsessed with UFOs. He believes aliens are actually demons. I wonder if Erica Kirk had some UFOs stuffed inside those tight, black, stretchy pants that she was wearing at the funeral, or maybe it wasn't the funeral, but anyway, you know what I mean. J.D. Vance weighed in on UFOs, claiming their origins go beyond our physical universe. And according to Vance, the unidentified objects in question have a more sinister explanation. I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons. But that's a longer discussion. He said that on the Benny show. We'll talk about Benny in just a second. Celestial beings who fly around, who do weird things to people. I think that's the desire, to describe everything as celestial, everything as otherworldly, to describe it as aliens, he explained. Vance then framed the phenomena of UFOs within his Christian faith. And he does have a new book out, by the way. And he labeled them as covert manifestations of Satan. Covert manifestations of Satan. I think that one of the devil's great tricks is to convince people that he never existed. But if he never existed, then how the hell can there be demons? I'm just asking. And the vice president stated, I'm more curious than anybody. And I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Don't know if he was talking about Erica or the bottom of what. But it was on the Benny show. Here's Benny. Nice teeth, Benny. Look, he didn't even got any cavities. There's Benny. And who's Benny? Well, in 2014, Benny became the digital director at the National Review. In 2015, he left the National Review to join the Independent Journal Review as a creative content contributor. He took it a little bit too far because a month later, they fired his smiling ass. They fired him. He joined the Daily Caller. Then he got suspended from BuzzFeed because plagiarism in his posts. His writings were lifted from a variety of sources, all without credit. Over 10% of his work. He was fired from BuzzFeed, and he later apologized for the plagiarism. So in case you're saying, oh, Benny didn't do it, he apologized for the plagiarism. But after getting fired not once, not twice, but thrice, that's 3 for those of you that are still, working. He apologized for the plagiarism. And then after being fired 3 times for plagiarism, he became the chief creative officer at Turning Point USA. You can't make this stuff up. Benny, he was the chief officer. And also, while he was at The Verge, former employees and contractors described dubious corporate practices, delaying his payments for months. Amundsen, I'm glad you said it. Ouden, I'm glad you said it. I kind of run it together. Ouden, Manison, I'm glad you said that. Typical dirt bag. But anyway, he delayed payments for months. He had contacts with political campaigns rife with self-dealing. And this great Christian man, Benny, he was described as very abusive, very toxic, screaming at people, using profanity, vulgarity, and making girls cry. And then, not to be outdone, after being hired by Turning Point USA in August 2025, don't know if he was still there, he posted on X saying that Here's a mass shooting. There's murder on my front lawn. And then my house was set on fire with my wife and my infant child inside. The claim was later proven false. New York Times, police reports, fire department reports. The incident occurred at a neighbor's residence. Benny sensationalized the details of the episode and falsely presented it as having taken place at his own home. He took the creative director a little bit too seriously. And oh, by the way, Benny has 6 million. That's right, folks. Benny has 6 million subscribers as of September 2025. There's Benny in all his glory at a TPUSA event. Now, Benny's married to Caitlin Riley, got 4 kids, and oh, by the way, there's more. I'm really wired tonight. Benny Johnson made legal threats after Milo Yiannopoulos claimed that Benny was secretly engaging in sexual acts with men at political conferences. And if anybody's got a well-developed gaydar, it's probably Milo. So Milo says that Benny was playing hide the sausage with men at political conferences. And the claims were made on Tim Pool's podcast. Tim Pool is very, very careful. Very, very careful. So we got Benny, who JD told that the aliens are demons, right? And then we got JD having a relationship with Peter Thiel. Speaking of homosexuals, and just to correct the record, New England Dirt Roadie. Oops, I'm coming in a little hot. Sorry about that. Kind of comes with the territory, if you know what I mean. But where was I? J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel. Oh, yeah. Homosexuals, J.D. Vance. Peter Thiel is, as my dad would have said, queer as a $3 bill. Queer as a $3 bill. And if it hadn't been for Peter Thiel, J.D. Vance may well have never been selected as Donald Trump's 2024 running mate, because Ribbit Capital, founded in 2012 by Venezuelan entrepreneur Mickey Malka, invested in a financial services technology, which both Vance and Theo were involved in. And by the way, Ribbit comes from the Hebrew word for interest. I thought that was kind of interesting. And in 2011, they launched their first institutional fund, raised $40 million from people including Peter Thiel, queer as a $3 bill. And following the 2016 United States presidential election, Jared was appointed to advisor to the president. And then Jared sold his entire Thrive Capital stake. Jared has a very interesting way of making money. So J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel, do you see a homosexual theme running through there? Just saying. And then Peter Thiel has an interest in young blood. The place is really called Young Blood. Peter Thiel, a prominent transhumanist who has admitted to being fascinated by the idea of using blood from young people to combat aging. You don't even have to expand on that. He invested in a company called Ambrosia, which is exploring young plasma, which is young blood, for anti-aging. And he himself said that he was interested in trying the treatments. Listen, if you're a billionaire and you're interested in it, you done did it yesterday. Don't tell me that Peter Thiel ain't already had a taste of the ambrosia, right? Just like I'm drinking this Ghost because I'm white. Delicious. Peter, isn't it interesting his name is Peter? He's interested in trying those treatments by his damn self. Now, Youngblood caught my interest. Youngblood, Peter Thiel. You remember Pizzagate? John Podesta's emails using phrases like pizza, grape soda, walnut sauce. And this, of course, has pretty much been proven, and this is from a place called Factually. See, I'm not like Benny. These are coded PDF languages. How about that? And, of course, Leviticus 17:11, which is a 10 when you add it up. The life of the flesh is in the blood, and everybody knows the blood is better than the young blood, right? So, if y'all remember, some of you that are old like me, some of you that like hockey like me, there was this movie called, can you believe it, Young Blood. And it originally starred a white boy, Rob Lowe, I believe. It originally starred Rob Lowe, but they're remaking it. The character, the player's name is Youngblood. And now they're remaking it with some brothers. Youngblood, and look what it says. Take your shot. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what you call a hidden command. And we all know that Jeffrey Epstein wanted to seed the entire population with his DNA, and he gave Bill Gates lots of money. I mean, you know how rich you got to be to give Bill Gates money? And what was Bill Gates always saying? Take your shot. Oh, yeah, I go deep, homeboys. Peter Thiel had an Instagram model boyfriend, showed up at a party where he wasn't supposed to show up, right? Showed up at a party when he wasn't supposed to show up. And it led to a showdown between the billionaire Peter Thiel and his husband when the boyfriend crashed the New Year's bash. And guess what, folks? Amazingly, and certainly coincidentally, boyfriend there's pictured in a Speedo. He plunged to his death, fell from a balcony. There's a lot of that going on. He fell from a balcony, and if I'm really hot, let me know. I mean, sound-wise. I'm getting excited. I get close to the mic, and boom. But anyway, the boyfriend died. It wasn't the fall that killed him. It was the sudden stop at the bottom, just to be accurate. He plunged to his death after that messy showdown at the couple's New Year's bash. So, man, are you picking up what I'm laying down? There he is. Brother got a banging body. We gotta say that. I'm wondering, what is this little thing sticking up here on the top? I mean, is that a tattoo? I don't know what that is. It kind of makes me a little uncomfortable, though. There's Peter Thiel. There's the husband, and here's the boy toy that he just happened to plunge to his freaking death. Balconies are dangerous. Wow. And remember, J.D. Vance, obsessed with UFOs. Peter Thiel and Matt, they share 2 children. Thiel's been in a romantic relationship with Jeff Thomas since 2019. Married in 2017. Got a side piece, just like Isaac Cappy. Exactly right. Married 2017, got a side piece in 2019, and many in their elite gay circle, elite queer homosexual circle, told the Daily Mail that their romance was an open secret. But it's unclear if the husband was aware of Peter's infidelity. And by the way, it's good to be a gay side piece, apparently, because Thiel put Thomas up in a another interesting number, $1 million mansion tucked away in the Hollywood Hills. Sent him on great European vacations, $300,000 sports cars, and access to the most coveted parties in town. And you can't make this up. In 2021, Peter Thiel, working with Donald Trump, in 2021, Peter Thiel, working with Donald Trump, created a dating app for conservatives. A billionaire homosexual philanderer starts a dating site for conservatives called The Right Stuff. It makes you wonder what is the right stuff. And I don't know, maybe some of you are better investigators than me. This symbol right here, it kind of gives me some PDF vibes. I'm just saying. So I'm building a case here, folks, because the list who reported that JD said that aliens are demons, well, Vance and the controversial, homosexual, cheating billionaire, they've known each other for years. The former vice president started working at Theal's global investment firm in 2017, and they immediately hit it off. I won't read into that. They immediately hit it off. And oh, by the way, walnut sauce. Remember Youngblood, black player, walnut sauce. We'll get to it. Or that, maybe we won't get to it, but walnut sauce, that's supposedly black Youngblood. But anyway, Vance sang his boss's praises. He recalled how the PayPal co-founder met him at Yale, and the homosexual philanderer inspired J.D. Vance so much that he decided not to pursue a law career. And J.D. Vance said that Peter Thiel made him see the world completely differently. That'll happen when you got your face buried in a pillow. It's for entertainment purposes only, folks. Don't take me seriously. Don't take me seriously. Ms. Invisible wandering reality wandering in. Nice to see you. And by the way, Theal was so appreciative of Vance's drive, I won't say anything. He ended up giving J.D. Vance $15 million to fund his 2022, which is a sixth, Senate campaign. And he also got his rich friends to part with their money to help the Ohio politician secure his win. It was Theal, Peter Thiel, who introduced J.D. Vance to Donald Trump. And that led to the then former president endorsing Vance, which practically sealed his victory. And then Theal became one of Vance's most trusted mentors. Wow. So, and this came from I think it's Evangelical World Tonight News. It's a Christian organization. So even they admit 10 strange things about J.D. Vance or something. But a homosexual cheating billionaire influenced J.D. Vance's outlook on life. Boy, that's a mouthful, isn't it? That's what J.D. said. Boy, that's a mouthful. I wonder if Erica knew this when she was rubbing her fingers through his hair. Anyway, Theal introduced Vance and attracted Vance to the way he described Christianity as transcending the scapegoat myth of various cultures. Because Christ hasn't wronged the civilization. Civilization has wronged him. Theal, the homosexual, cheating billionaire, identifies as a Christian. And he's a conservative, and he spoke at least one Republican National Convention. He's married to a man, and he has been one of Vance's major contributors. From ChatGPT, Theal has a broader influence on Van. Don't know who the broad is on Vance. Beyond religion, he funded Vance's venture capital career, backed his Senate run financially, provided access to elite intellectual and political networks. And Vance has entered circles where traditionalist philosophical Christianity was taken seriously, and Catholicism was often discussed as a coherent intellectual system. Yeah, I'm sure that's what they were talking about when they got together. And in Vance's own words, he says that Catholicism, which he got introduced to by the homosexual billionaire, offered him moral clarity. offered him moral clarity. And it gave him some tradition. And he's become skeptical of liberalism since being exposed to the homosexual billionaire that influenced his outlook on life. And Gerard was the big influence on Theal, later on Vance. And Gerard's ideas are we copy what others want, we fight, and then we blame one person, and then we calm down. We copy, we fight, we blame, we feel better. Sounds a lot like the Abrahamic Matrix, doesn't it? Sounds a lot like the Abrahamic Matrix. So this is the guy, and JD has his sad frowny face on because we're sharing this. But this is the guy trotted out to tell us that aliens are demons on the brink of Trump's alien files release. Isn't that something? And the Epstein files detail years-long contact with Peter Thiel, and Peter's also been invited at least to Epstein's island. Traditional buggering. Hey, tradition. And if there is one consistent tradition within the Catholic clergy, and the Protestant clergy too, let's be honest. So Jeffrey Epstein was already a convicted sex offender by the time he and Peter Thiel, J.D. Vance's President of the United States, aliens or demons. By the time these Epstein emails started, Jeffrey was already a convicted sex offender. That's a fact. It's not disputed. This comes from SFL Media. Between 2014 and 2017, 6 to 9, 6 and 9. And then there's 69. Chicka chicka bow wow. Wow wow wow. But 3 years they were corresponding. 6 to 9 years after he was convicted, Jeffrey Epstein was corresponding with Peter Thiel, coordinating meetings, extending invitations, and made a multi-million-dollar advisory agreement. Vance has that beard of a wife. Makes you wonder. Makes New England dirt roadie wonder. So, now, these documents do not prove any criminal conduct by Peter Thiel. His boyfriend taking a swan dive off a balcony after crashing a party that made his husband mad doesn't prove that any criminal conduct by Peter Thiel, doesn't show any illegal activity. What they do show is continued access by Jeffrey Epstein and Peter Thiel, the mentor of the sitting vice president. And you know what? That's the real story. Now, this wasn't a one-off. It was a pattern. I mean, I could have got an email from Jeffrey Epstein. Didn't. Did date a girl that he was doing before I knew what I was doing. But in May 2014, Epstein said, hey, like to visit you to the island. Like to bring you down to the island. Of course, St. James Island, Little St. James. Let's do dinner tonight. You come to my house. Barack has heavy security. I first thought he was talking about Barack Obama. Maybe he was, but it also could have been Ehud Barak, former Israeli prime minister. But the address referenced is 9. Jeffrey lives at 9 East 71st Street on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Come in at 2 p.m., one-on-one, you and I. Ooh, I need a drink of Ghost for White People. One-on-one. 7:30, Woody's going to show up. Wow. And Kathy Remler for dinner. William Burns, who was about to become the director of the CIA, was there with Epstein and Thiel, who's J.D. Vance's mentor, and Ehud Barak, former Israeli prime minister. Shout out to Vinnie Eastwood. So perhaps the most significant document was in 2017. Peter Thiel says, Jeffrey, I am hiring you for $40 million. I'm here to tell you tonight, I'll do it for 10. But he paid Jeffrey Epstein $40 million for his consultation. Wow. Paid him on December 8th, 2017. $40 million. Wow. Wow. And J.D. Vance says that the Epstein files reveal an incestuous nature to America's elites. And his mentor was involved in that. Wow. But he never was really friendly with Epstein, Vance says of Trump, in a way that a lot of these other people were. Take that for what it's worth. So Vance believes God is real. He believes the devil's real. And, by the way, 85% of Republicans and Republican-leading independents, they also believe those very same things. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? What do I got here? I got some more. I got something from Dagger here. Okay, cool. It strengthens Vance's bond with conservatives and apparently philanderous, homosexual billionaires as well. And that's excellent news for Vance, because forging an emotional connection with your base is worth its weight in gold. And the more the media lambasts him for his faith, the more these connections continue to grow. But it's not just J.D. Vance. And you know, if you've listened to some of the experts in human behavior, like Chase Hughes, he's the leading expert on human behavior. And I'm a pretty damn good expert on human behavior. But PJ Media reported those things that I just said. Interstellar on X. These references are not endorsements. It's just called ethical journalism. But J.D. Vance says that aliens are demons. But to complete that thought, Chase Hughes says when you see the same language and verbiage being made by multiple people, you're involved in a psyop, for what that's worth. So not only did J.D. Vance say that aliens are demons, so did Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson says that UFOs might be demonic. He went on Breaking Point to drop some bombs. There's a spiritual element to the UFO phenomenon, said Tucker. Rhymes with trucker. The Vatican's deeply interested. I bet they are. And the government could be hiding a dark and disturbing truth. You know what that's called? That's called kosher disclosure. The government might be hiding a dark and disturbing truth that goes out to you, that discloses to you that they are, but it's framed in a way that you miss it unless you listen to the Christian whistleblower. And here's a bigger picture of it so you can see that I didn't just make it up. Dead Wolf says, some people, somebody said Tucker Carlson. Alden, I think you made a typographical error there. You said Cucker and not Tucker. You said Cucker Carlson and not Tucker. I'm sure it was a typographical error. But Dead Wolf says he will like these humans that behave this way. Their best human behavior would be assuming room temperature. I didn't say that. Somebody in the chat said that. I'm just reading the chat. And the government is hiding a deep and disturbing truth. And then Tucker doubled down. Tucker said that UFOs and aliens could be angels and demons. I think I know what's up. You truly don't want to know. He went on the Sean Ryan show. Sean Ryan pretty straight up. And he said, yeah. So there's a double down on the aliens from Tucker, which is a double down with JD. And you know you can't triple stamp a double stamp. That's an old movie reference. But Tucker tripled down. Tucker, Kylie, thank you. Like, share, subscribe. You ain't going to get this anywhere else. But Tucker said that he was violently attacked by a demon. I'm wondering, was it an alien? But anyway, Tucker was violently attacked by a demon. He couldn't breathe. I had to get up, stand in the doorway of our bedroom, and I'm like, wow, I'm dying. How could he talk if he couldn't breathe? I'm just asking. So both Tucker Carlson, according to Marina Medvin, again on X, both Tucker Carlson and J.D. Vance have publicly said that UFOs are demons. I mean, Trump has said he probably believes in them. Obama said he probably believes in them. Tucker Carlson, J.D. Vance. And now, folks, the White House has registered new alien-related.gov domains. And it's the DOD, the Department of Defense, now Department of War, which is DOW, Dow. Ooh. Excuse me. They have registered alien.gov, preparing for Trump's alien directive. Yeah, it's kind of hard to talk when you can't breathe or when you've got a nicotine thing in your lip that kind of... Anyway. And stay with me. White House spokeswoman Anna Kelly, don't know who she is, but I'll bet she's hot. I'm just saying, Trump White House. She told Defense Scoop, as pictured here, that they should stay tuned. And she included an alien emoji 1 month after Trump. And by the way, remember when you start seeing narratives being repeated, guess what? Secretary Pete Hegseth said he was keen to comply with the alien thing, and he also included the same alien emoji. The little things are the big things, and Her Majesty says that Tucker tried to get in the CIA. Brandon says that Tucker, his dad is CIA. So yeah, how about that? And shortly after Trump's disclosure, Pete Hegseth, he did it with the same emoji. And then Trump says, I'll be directing the Secretary of War to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, UAPs and UFOs, both extremely and important matters. And oh, by the way, Pete Hegseth spent 90 minutes, according to eyewitnesses, at Area 51, according to Inc. News. Area 51. Secret visit, mysterious show and tell, data confirmed by flight tracking indicators. George Arnu says that he has proof beyond a doubt that Hegseth spent 90 minutes at Area 51. Not 89 minutes, not 91, but 90 minutes 9. Did you ever think, some info babe asked Pete Hegseth, did you ever think that you would be the Secretary of War and you'd be in charge of potentially declassifying extraterrestrial life? Aliens. Disclosing aliens. Well played, Wondering Reality. And you know what? If I had all the money I wanted, I would have been reporting this to you from just outside Area 51, but we don't have that yet. Hegseth said, I didn't have that on my bingo card. Wow. So I have a question for you. And here it is. Hegseth used the same alien emoji. So does all this, Vance, Epstein, nice sweater though, Jeff, Trump, frowny face, J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel, the whole Gene Hackman thing we went through on the last D program. It's on this channel. Check it out. I just have one question for you. Do you believe that this is all just coincidence? Or could it be perhaps a coincidence? Now, let's get into something that Brando sent to me from Ohio. Yes, Brandon, I'll ask that real quick just because it's you. Were the Tartarians aliens? The rods say yes. I ask, were the Tartarians benevolent? The rods also say yes. So, J.D. Vance, we used to have a church song. You're a liar. Singing about the devil, who J.D. Vance believes is real. But dudes and dudettes, and those of you that aren't sure, we got some, can I say fuckery? So anyway, we got some weirdness going on in Ohio. Have you heard about the fireballs? We're not talking about J.D. Theal and his boyfriend anymore. But have you heard about the fireballs? Great balls of fire. Have you heard about that? They're all over the place. And I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but Ben Davidson, I don't really like the guy, but he puts together some really good space weather news. And who's the other one? Stefan, can't remember his last name. And then there's the earthquake guy, Dutch Sense. They're talking about these fireballs, and they're saying they are not meteors. And even cross-wearing, and usually a wife-beater T-shirt, Ben Davidson, actually a very smart guy, he says that they're not meteors. They can tell because they're science guys. He writes textbooks and stuff, so he's not a dummy, Ben. Just doesn't know how to dress. Oh, boy, says the guy in a grandpa sweater. But that's okay. I'm a grandpa. But he says, and Ben Davidson said, you know what? They could be debris from crafts. So, but what's happening in Ohio? Here's a guy named Donovan Dredd. You can subscribe to him on YouTube. Brandon sent this to me. Brandon and Brandy. Is it Brandy, really? I think it's Brandy is your girlfriend, right? Brandy? Your partner? Brandy and Brandon. I just picked up on that. That's kind of funny. Brandy, Brandon, Brandon, Brandy. So if you say Brand in that house, they both look, and you got to put either Brandon or Brandy. All the way up to the Brandy. They got to wait for that last syllable. Is it D or is it done? D done, D done, Dundee, don't know. But at least you get both of their attentions at one time. I like that. Anyway, Donovan Dredd, this is his material. I'm just reporting it to you. And he says that in Ohio, where Brandon is, and Brandy, Brandon and Annie are in Ohio, and this is for Smoochie, they got the Sasquatch. Somewhere Smoochie's being very happy right now. Don't know how happy, but it's Smoochie. You never know. But anyway, the Sasquatch are doing some crazy stuff in Ohio. 8 Sasquatch sightings in 5 days, all in the same 20-mile stretch of northeast Ohio, which just happens to be where J.D. Vance, Aliens or Demons, was the senator. These people all describe the same things. Creatures between 6 and 10 feet tall, covered in dark hair, moving through the woods at a high speed. And that ain't easy. And then, poof, they're gone. 1 week later, a 7-ton so-called meteor exploded over that exact region, same quarter, same patch of Ohio. Investigators started mapping the reports, and a pattern emerged. They're all heading for Louisiana to see Smoochie. Gonna bring her some more gifts. Yes, Smoochie has received gifts from Sasquatch, and she's totally right. I believe it. So they started mapping these. A pattern has emerged. It's not they're not random sightings. And for the record, these witnesses did not know each other. They weren't coordinating their stories. The Bigfoot Society podcast and the lead investigator on these cases said, and check this out, an event like this hasn't been reported since the Minerva monster sightings of 1978. It is Brandon and Brandy. I was right. That's funny. Brandy, his wife. And Brandy, his wife. I had a Jetsons moment there. You remember that? So anyway, That's 50 years, half a century. And we haven't seen such a concentrated burst of Sasquatch sightings. So what changed? And why? And why now? And for those of you keeping track, my wife says that she follows a hunting Bigfoot channel or a Bigfoot hunting channel. I don't think they anyway. Yeah. Is it possible that these creatures have picked up on something that is coming? And we're not talking about the party boys anymore. But did they pick up on something that was coming? Was there something in the atmosphere, something in the earth that told them it was time to get out of Dodge? Well, what we do know is that on March 6th through the 11th, which is 5 days, by the way, multiple witnesses reported these large bipedal creatures moving rapidly through Ohio in coordinated patterns. And on March 17th, a meteor exploded over that same area. It's almost like they knew something was coming. The Minerva monster. And to understand what's going on here in 2026 in Ohio, let's talk about real quickly what happened in 1978. These two events are separated by half a century. Lots of similarities, hard to ignore. Not far from where the 2026 sightings have occurred the Minerva, was it Minerva? The Minerva monster sighting. Same general region of Ohio. So one evening, this researcher's grandchildren, I know they don't hunt them. I was just kind of joking. They don't hunt them. It's a hunting channel that, oh, he is a hunter, but he doesn't hunt Bigfoot. So they just send him Bigfoot stuff. Got it. Okay. I'm glad. I was afraid that the Bigfoot were being actually hunted. And I've always said the best way not to see a Bigfoot is to go on a Bigfoot hunt because they're not stupid. They can hear you coming. So anyway, the grandchildren were out, and the grandchildren run in really frightened. I've seen a Bigfoot myself, and they said they'd seen a monster. And, you know, when your grandkids said they've seen a monster, you think, oh, they've been drinking too many Ghost energy drinks. If they're white grandkids, if they were black grandkids, you thought they were drinking too many Shadow energy drinks. I'm not going to say what came to my mind. There's a first for everything, folks. But the adults went to investigate, and they saw them too. Now, I want you to think about this. Bigfoot, if you ever do see one, they are not going to just hang out. They're gone. Because if you see one, they got lazy or something, drunk, I don't know. But the grandkids see a monster, yell, scream like grandkids do. They run back into the house, tell their mom and dad, their grandma, grandpa, I saw a monster. Oh, no, you didn't. So what, 5-10 minutes? They go back out there, and the damn Sasquatch are still there. 7 feet tall, 300 pounds, thick, dark, matted hair, completely obscured their facial features, kind of like, what was his name? The Garth Brooks alter ego, Chris Gaines. And the Bigfoot is standing there watching them. Folks, this doesn't happen. Donovan Dredd reporting that the creature came back multiple times on different nights. It doesn't happen. Were the Bigfoot trying to communicate some information to these people? I think by and large the Bigfoot are benevolent creatures unless they get reasons not to be benevolent. So they came back multiple times, showed themselves to these people. That's weird, man. It's not the way things happen. It's against the rules of nature, but are these great benevolent creatures trying to tell us stupid humans, hey, dummies, something's up? And it's not the playoffs or the, reality TV. Something's going on. So not only that, the neighbors started reporting sightings. And these people had not talked to one another about this. Unless you're smoochy, you don't tell people that you saw Bigfoot. They look at you like saying you're going to, listen to the Christian whistleblower. It's just weird, man. So they were seeing these same creatures. So these creatures are trying to tell these humans, hey, something's up. The most dramatic incident was the 21st of August that original sighting family was entertaining their friends and family at the home. So here's a big party, right? That's the last place a Sasquatch is going to show himself or herself. They hear strange noises coming from the backyard. They look out the window. They see something moving in the dark, and they see two pairs of yellow eyes reflecting the porch light. Sasquatch don't hang out. Jay Bing wouldn't tell anybody. I'm with you. So now, okay, you see a Sasquatch is looking at you. You get in your car. This is Ohio. This is rural. It's a big truck, right? You've ever seen our big truck, man? Lights everywhere. They get in the truck. They start the truck. They drive it around the side of the house. They aim the headlights at the Sasquatch. And Smoochie, they're still standing there. Smoochie, tell me 1 to 10 in the chat. What's the likelihood? 0 being the least, 10 being the most likely that the Sasquatch is going to hang out during all of that. Out and saw a Sasquatch. Oh, I've already made videos about my Sasquatch sighting. I've talked about it on Coast to Coast AM. So they're standing there looking at him. Hello, dumb humans. There's some shit going on. And then it gets even weirder. Because standing near the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch, the Yeti, the skunk ape, whatever you want to call it, there's a big cougar type animal, a big cat. Brando, is it true that they don't have those big cats in Ohio? And even if there were big cats in Ohio, they ain't going to be hanging out with Sasquatch. Dude, you've seen the damn nature shows. The predator don't hang out with the prey. So they're hanging out together in comfortable proximity. The Minerva monster, well-documented Bigfoot flap. Researchers say it's in the top 3 now as competition. And the witnesses never changed their stories. The details remain consistent across decades of retelling. It wasn't a squatched cat. It was just a cat, like a mountain lion or something like that. And until March of 2026, which was 1 day ago, right? It was the last time investigators had ever seen anything like that. Concentrated, big burst of activity in the region. It was like a Peter Thiel party, man. And there was about as much clothing being worn. And probably some, what do they call those furry guys? The ones that are all hairy, they call them, what do they call them? Anyway. 48 years. And then all of a sudden, 8 sightings in 5 days. Smoochie says, but was it a dog man? Maybe. The BFRO, which is the Bigfoot Researchers Organization, lists over 300 historical reports just from Ohio. But what happened in March was different. It was coordinated. It was concentrated. Multiple sightings in the same area, small time frame. And it was a triggered massive movement. Like something had encouraged them to leave. And the Bigfoot Society has classified these as high credibility. According to Donovan Dredd, that's not a designation that they throw out lightly. It means the witnesses were coherent. Their accounts were detailed. Their accounts were consistent, and there was no obvious reason to fabricate. And since Smoochie was there, there was no motivation to fornicate with the Sasquatch either. It's just a joke, folks. Smoochie and I are cool. And I thought it was funny the other day, I guess Nick Cannon, earmuffs, folks. Nick Cannon says, oh, I fuck with Trump. And they're like, oh, is he going to kill the president? No. I learned from young Pharaoh that when they say, oh, I'd fuck with you, Jeff, that's a good thing. They would hang out with you. And it doesn't involve fucking. Okay, you can unearmuff. So, of course, the Portage County Sheriff's Office was asked about the sightings. And they're like, what sightings? We don't have anything mention of Sasquatch, anything mention of Bigfoot. No official filings, No calls about the strange creatures. Isn't that crazy? It's kind of like the bullet doesn't match the gun in the Kirk event. To me, this doesn't come from Donovan Dredd. This comes from me. This reeks of an official cover-up. This sounds like a suppression of information to me. And it is in J.D. Vance's Ohio. So where does that leave us, folks? 8 documented sightings, 5 days. Multiple witnesses, similar creatures, similar behaviors. All getting the hell out of Dodge. Meteor impact. Is it debris from a craft? And as an owner, well, I don't know who owns who, but we have a 92-pound female German Shepherd here. She loves me. She loves her family, but she will chew you up. She's freaking vicious. So protective. And I've seen, this dog, a trained German Shepherd attack dog. Have you seen their mouths? They remind me of great white shark teeth, and I've been 3 inches from great white shark teeth in the water, in the reel. So, yeah. So, anyway, one of the sighters has a attack-trained German Shepherd. Confident enough to face down anything in the woods. And that dog, that German Shepherd, was reduced to shaking on the porch because she saw something or she smelled something at the tree line. And dogs don't lie. They don't fabricate stories for attention, although they will fabricate some shit to get a cookie. Just saying. We call the milk bones cookies. Trained German Shepherds, Claudette's right, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. Trained German Shepherds react to what's really there. So there was something there. Sasquatch not acting like Sasquatch. Misplaced wildlife hanging out with each other. Getting the hell out of Dodge. So the question isn't, does a Bigfoot exist? We all know they do. The question is, why? What caused them not only to get the hell out of Ohio, but to tell people repeatedly, you need to get out of here too. Donovan Dredd, that's where that came from. What triggered that exodus? What scared them out of the woods? And can you imagine what could scare, let's just say you were 300 pounds, 10 feet tall. What could scare you out of the woods? Maybe J.D. Vance in a Speedo? Okay. Is it just one big coincidence? Who? I don't know. So, I ask again, is it all coincidence? Let me give you my reading of all this. Let me give you a 30,000 foot perspective. What do I think? You see me there thinking, scratching my head, I'm thinking. I'm wondering. I'm going up and left, so I'm not creating, I'm thinking, I'm accessing my memories. What about this alien disclosure? What about this cryptid resurgence? You know what Brandon just said, that the Bigfoot are probably trying to use mental communication. But we forgot how to do that because, language is so new to us. Language ain't the way we really communicate, but we done forgot what the Sasquatch know. Sasquatch communicate via thought and body language. So did we, Brando. Brandon and Brandy, both of you. What about this alien disclosure? What about the cryptid resurgence? What about the Epstein, Theal, Trump, Vance? Foursome, can I say? What about the files? And what about the Hackman Dulce network? What do you think, Jeff? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to tell you anyway. It's not a coincidence. It might be a coincidence. The Bigfoot are panicking, yes, but so are the politicians. The Abrahamic matrix is panicking. The Abrahamic matrix is trying to formulate some type of a defense. And my gut tells me that this aliens or demons could well be, and I ask you to consider, are they trying to create an ultimate us versus them? It is wild times, Carmen. I've been talking about some wild stuff for a long time, and even the people in our movement will say, "Guy, he's crazy." But it may be about to get real, cousins. Hold on a second.
Scarlett Johansson, Fly Me to the Moon.
Watch this. This was a This was a movie with Scarlett Johansson. It was called Fly Me to the Moon. I'm going to mute me and see if you can hear this. It's a little low. See if I can turn up the volume. Watch this. It is a great time to be alive, Ms. Invisible. Watch this. Sorry, I managed to get off track here somehow. Told you I was all excited. So let me get to where I want to show you this video. If you hear an echo, let me know. I'm going to let it run. Okay.
You know how they say they always put it right in our faces? Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson, Fly Me to the Moon. Y'all watch this. Pay attention.
The space program is a bloated mess.
NASA needs a marketing specialist, and you are the very best.
Excuse me? What are you doing here?
I tracked you down because I felt we had a connection.
What?
I'm joking. I work here now to sell the moon.
NASA's not something that you sell with a jingle and a slogan.
When I'm done, those men are going to be bigger than the Beatles.
Who is that?
For me, that's the very person.
He's got my name.
You told me that your guys don't do interviews, so I had to hire new guys.
I'm here for the casting. Who's he?
You're a juicy part.
60 missions in Korea.
I flew 52 missions in Korea.
I flew 52 missions in Korea. How's that?
What?
The whole world will be watching. We can't afford to lose to the Russians. We need to shoot the backup version of the moon landing.
You mean to fake it? No one can ever know what we're doing.
I cannot accept that.
They will shoot you.
What is my budget?
Oh, boy.
I know a lot more about the moon than I know about you.
Give me go, no go for launch. If you fake this mission, every single thing that we have sacrificed will have been for nothing.
You know you couldn't have made it to this day without me.
4, 3, 2, 1.
My Armstrong is a whiny little bitch. We have to recast.
I think we should have gotten Kubrick.
Folks, that is so full of disclosure there. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I will invite Robert Seffer. I don't know if he'll come on. I made him mad one time, but I'll definitely invite him. So let's talk about, as we talk about space, the final frontier. Bum, 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 bum. Da-na! Anyway, let's talk about the history of UFOs up to the Battle of Antarctica. Let's talk about Admiral Byrd and Operation High Jump. And by the way, both my father, as a yeoman on the USS Henderson battleship destroyer, and Cynthia's father, a yeoman on, I can't remember the name of the ship, the aircraft carrier were both in, hey Jessica, they were both in Operation High Jump. So, when you can't talk about Operation High Jump without talking about the Third Reich's flying saucer program, many experts have concluded that the Third Reich's flying saucer program was a rediscovery, a recreation, and an expansion of ancient Aryan technology. They incorporated mercury vortex engines, and these craft wanted to utilize this propulsion ultimately, but there was difficulties in developing them for mass production. And that was the main reason that they didn't get used until the very end of the war, in addition to an insistence by the German leader that he would not deploy any weapon system until they had themselves figured out a countermeasure to that system, so they don't, end up having it used against them.
In fact, we're not coming from here. We came from there.
This is Rabbi Laitman talking about where did these aliens come from? Listen again. This is one of my favorites. Y'all love this. Whoops, I did it again. Oops, I did it again. Sorry, I got to go through all these again. Oh my. We're going to be here all night, Jeff. I know. Come on. It's not the first time I've made a mistake.
In fact, we're not coming from here. We came from there. Like this. This is Israel at their root. So we went through such a route that took us inside by what's called the shattering of the vessels. The shattering of the collective soul.
Who's the chief of staff that sent this command unit?
Him, the creator. Israel is a part of him.
So, seemingly this chief of staff sent this command unit?
Sent the commando, gave them strength, gave them the connections, everything. And if they're connected to him, but they have no choice. He broke them. He shattered them. What does it mean? In order to put them inside the hostile land, he had to give them the same form of that hostile land. It's like we go into a country as an undercover team. And each one of us is exactly like the people of the land. Say we're being now sent somewhere, Africa, for instance. So we'll take on the same shape and form of the people in Africa. The characteristics, traits, approach, interests, everything. The same exact form, inside and out. As we are there, it's like an undercover agent. He is there for a while, no one touches him, he has to start working, build a house, family, everything is fine, okay, for years and years. After that, he starts doing something. He gets a reminder from outside. You got to start working. He already forgot about it. And all of a sudden, they call him, here is your commander, this and this and that. Like in the movies. And like in Jason Bourne. And this is what's happening with us. We have to wake up. We have to remember that we have a special mission. And really, this isn't our place. We're coming from a completely different place. So we have to find our friends according to this awakening. Did you get a phone call? I got a phone call. He got a phone call, and so on. And then we gather as a group. So, from this entire planet, we are aliens. We're coming from a different galaxy. We received this ray of light, this awakening, individually, and now we're gathering as groups, starting to prep ourselves to conquer Earth. That's the mission. What? You don't see it?
How do we conquer it?
How do we conquer it? We're also sent the method. We're being shown everything gradually. We're being taught. Not taught, but kind of being trained, activated, and then that emotion and mind awakens in us. But in fact, it's new to us, but in fact it's coming from our original planet. And thanks to that original natural force we have, we will take over. We'll take over those living on Earth. What are you looking at me like that? You don't believe what I'm telling you? I'm telling you seriously. It's even more than that. It's not a different galaxy. It's a different universe. It's a different dimension altogether. That's who we are.
I didn't say any of that. The rabbi did. So, maybe that'll give us a little context. The aliens are demons. Well, the rabbi just said they're aliens, so I'm confused. If the aliens if aliens are demons and the aliens came and brought us the Abrahamic matrix, then we have some things to think about. So this development of the Mercury Vortex engine enabled the speed and maneuverability of modern UFOs, as well as their ability to go back and forth between dimensions. That's Rabbi Laitman, a leading rabbi, I believe Chabad rabbi. So Rabbi Laitman disclosed that aliens are from another dimension. Rabbi Laitman disclosed that the invaders are here, and it is my assertion that they can only survive, and he kind of alluded to it, by attaching to and parasiting the energy of native life forms. They have to fake like they are. And in reality, they're both predator and parasite. And they cannot stay here, these aliens, unless they can mix with native Earth species, both animal and human. This is the realization and disclosure that ties all of these seemingly disparate events together. This is the answer to the demon and the pigs mystery of the New Testament Gospels, in my opinion. If you remember, in the New Testament, Jesus is out there talking to some folks, and on the hillside there's a large herd of pigs that were feeding. And Jesus was casting this demon out of this dude named, I forget his name, but this is where he said, we are legion, we're many. So he's casting these demons he's casting out demons. And the demons say, hey, can we go into the pigs? And Jesus said, yes, you can go to the pigs. And then the demons went into the pigs, and the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and drowned. Now, here, in my opinion, as a 100,000 hour plus student and researcher of the Hebrew and the Greek scriptures that make up what we call the Bible, as a Bible college graduate, as a 20-year full-time minister, 5-year part-time minister, what I find, and I never could, this one always bothered me, even when I was preaching the Christian gospel on 5 continents, here I see a metaphorical disclosure of the original alien invasion that Rabbi Laitman just alluded to into our dimension. What they, the aliens, call sin, this is how it entered into our world. And do you know that before Abrahamic religion was born, of all the religions in the world, there was never a concept of this thing called sin, and specifically original sin, until the alien invasion of our realm, described by Rabbi Laitman, which brought us the Abrahamic matrix. And the Abrahamic concept of sin has been passed down to all men, at least all those that believe and accept this concept of original sin. And we're living in a showdown, folks. It's either drown or be drowned. To me, Jesus, I ask you, could Jesus possibly represent the alien invaders, unleashing the legion of malevolent entities to go invade the swine and the herd? These are classic identifying terms of all those who refuse the Abrahamic matrix. They're called swine. They're called the herd, the cattle. So are these entities being loosed on the last generation of real humans? All those who refuse alien assimilation. Is that possible? Remember, the host can't survive without someone to feed on. The invader can't survive without a host to feed on. To combat this, it's I'll submit this for your consideration. If you had to have a host to feed on and you're worried about running out of hosts, would it possibly be within the realm of reality that to combat this problem, you would perfect a system of reanimation of hosts so that it can be parasited again and again? And if that doesn't work, then you can go and try to find another host and repeat the process. But though rare, it is possible. I am an example. HT is an example. It's possible for a host to expel these parasites and regain your whole full humanity. All evidence now points to this being the eternal life that Jesus promised in the New Testament Gospels, if you just look at the evidence. Jeff, what in the hell are you talking about? Wherever this parallel universe of the aliens is, conventional travel between there and here has been impossible. Without this technology that was developed in the 1930s and 40s Germany. The current invaders, according to Rabbi Laitman's own words, utilized a portal and a Stargate or a wormhole to get here. And since the end of World War II, what if an opposing force has located and neutralized all of their entry points? What if the Epstein-Dulce effort has been to create organic portals of new aliens so you can import new aliens and facilitate the retreat, the refreshing, and the resupplying of the original alien invaders? What if? Wow. Now, about these 1930s and 40s craft, those were prototypes. Those were pre-production models. Most of the photos and drawings that you've seen of World War II saucer-type craft were non-flyable prototypes. They were built for wind tunnel tests. It was part of airframe development. It was largely completed before the war's end, but the flying pictures that you see of these craft, those are generally of prototypes that were using conventional propulsion, because the Mercury Vortex engines had not been tested yet to be feasible under combat conditions. However, it is very likely that at least a few of these Mercury Vortex craft were available by the end of the war. And if you don't believe that, ask Admiral Byrd. And you remember the Foo Fighters that were talked about? Those were scout craft. They were unmanned, and they were the precursors of today's drones. They were used like an old-style cavalry. I misspelled that. Cavalry out ahead of the main force. They wouldn't arrive in great numbers until just after the war ended, along with those perfected Mercury Vortex engines. But could they have helped cover the transfer of resistance forces to Antarctica and other safe havens? Could it be that since then the production and the improvement of World War II technology has been continued unabated, and no doubt with great advancement? All we have to do is look at the Battle of Antarctica, where Admiral Byrd's Operation High Jump, it bears out these educated extrapolations that I'm making. This massive Allied force with the best aircraft, the best weaponry, the best vessels, it came to Antarctica, if you believe Admiral Byrd's own words. They came to Antarctica to destroy the remaining outposts of the resistance forces and the developing technology. Byrd went up there expecting to kick ass and take names, and he wound up being soundly defeated and forced into a hasty retreat. This bears factual evidence to the even then rapid development of those highly effective craft equipped with the improving Mercury Vortex engines with advanced armaments. And then we hear so much about these Nordic aliens. Could this be controlled disclosure? And of course, these Nordic aliens are ubiquitously framed as malevolent to humanity. These are J.D. Vance's demons. And as some have mentioned in the chat real briefly, the lore crafted concerning these beings are, again, ubiquitously, which means all the time, connected to what's known as the German Dark Fleet. So this shows that there's a very real, or does it show that there's a very real and valid concern of invasion by the demon aliens of the Vance rants to the cabal forces that now control virtually all governments of the world today? This explains the enthusiastic support of Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and the Department of War. Do they think somebody's coming? And oh, by the way, at the Roswell incident, there were severe thunderstorms during the famous UFO crash. And in other UFO, UAP events, widespread thunder and lightning, again, are almost ubiquitous. I like that word. I'm saying ubiquitous a lot tonight. Many eyewitnesses speculate that in many cases it's not lightning, it's not thunder, but instead it's massive aerial explosions near thunderstorms followed by the falling of quote-unquote meteors. This aligns perfectly with the balls of fire today and even the increased cryptid sightings in J.D. Vance's Ohio. Could this be a resistance mothership arriving in the vicinity of Earth? You've heard about the Devil's Comet? The Devil's Comet? Is that why they named it the Devil's Comet? Is it misdirection for the creation of the ultimate us versus them duality? Such a mothership, could such a mothership carry the principal part of the resistance craft, which will be joined by other elements coming from the Antarctic bases that Operation High Jump failed to eliminate, along with forces from bases beneath the Untersberg at the poles and possibly other locations? Could this mothership, as well as most resistance craft, as we've been told, jump dimensions, have advanced cloaking ability? Could this explain why even the most advanced U.S. craft from Admiral Byrd till now cannot target them effectively? And did you know, this is a little factoid for you, Little known fact that one of the main reasons that the Treaty of Versailles, which ended World War I, forbade Germany from having an air force was that even at the end of World War I, German aircraft design was already decades ahead of the Allies. In fact, so advanced that the Allies would not be able to match their technology for some time. And just before the eclipse that we had, there was a newly discovered comet coming in its wake. That comet is now identified as A1 Atlas, or 3-1 Atlas, whatever it is. And there's conflicting reports as to how close it is to Earth. Ben Davidson, many other experts say we could be experiencing these meteors as debris. Debris. And reports have shown that this comet, you've seen him, has two tails, which give it the appearance of horns. And Christians, like J.D. Vance, are casting and connecting it to the devil, being cast down to earth. How convenient is that? Could they be trying to create an us versus them paradigm? Now, let me give you some information from my good friend Robert Stanley. He's from Malibu, California. Scenic beauty. Most of you don't know, though, it's a hotspot of UFO activity. In the late 1950s, Mr. Stanley's neighbor and some of his friends were watching the sunset when they witnessed 3 bright UFOs fly across the water, hover over the Santa Monica Mountains, fly off. During the 1960s, people frequently saw UFOs around Malibu. Many of the homes are built on large lots, so there's room for UFOs to land in someone's backyard. And one of Robert Stanley's friends, and I know I've never known Robert Stanley to be anything but forthcoming, claimed that he did have a friend that had a UFO land in his backyard. He lived on Point Doomy, woke up late one night, had to go to the bathroom, I know the feeling, and he witnessed a UFO flying sideways in between he and his neighbor's house. This reminds me of Cynthia's brother, experienced many similar things. The man assumed he was just dreaming, went back to bed, and almost a year later, he was helping his neighbor, the one on the other side, right? And he looked in the utility closet for a stepladder, and he found a large painting of a UFO flying sideways between their houses. He asked his neighbor where the hell he got the painting, and the neighbor said, "Oh, I painted that myself. Saw it in a crazy dream." Point Doomy is also where Johnny Carson lived for many years. You've heard the name Whitley Strieber. He was a guest on The Tonight Show. And Johnny confided him backstage that he had also seen a UFO on Point Doomy. The man said, "I was standing right next to him when he took the shot." I'm going to show you some pictures. Neither of us saw anything at the time. This is Robert Stanley talking. But when the film was developed, at least 10 UFOs were plainly visible. The next month, another extraordinary UFO event occurred off of Malibu. A professional photographer living there took 4 clear photos of 11 UFOs as they approached her home over the ocean one night. Here's those photos. And if you notice, all of these UFOs are of the craft type that we saw in World War II, the saucer type craft. We give you a negative here so you can see the distinctions. Wow. Here's another photo she took. She said these light images against a black background are pretty impressive, but you can also see the energy signatures being emitted from the UFOs. This was about 9 at night. Husband said, "Wow, look at all these helicopters." She took out her camera and says, "Those ain't helicopters." And she took this photograph. And this just comes to my mind. Triangle up, triangle down. Speaking of Rabbi Laitman's insistence that Israel is alien. The flag is triangle up, triangle down, as above, so below. Could this be what Rabbi Michael Laitman was telling his class? And by the way, the Star of David symbol dates back to 17th century Prague. And a funny thing happened in 17th century Prague during the reign of Rudolph II. Rabbi Judah Loew created a golem to protect the Jewish people of Prague. And according to Kabbalistic tradition, a person who's knowledgeable and faithful enough to know the exact sequence of God's 27 letters, which is a 9, can create a human-like being and bring it to life by placing a letter sequence inside his head. And if you look at this golem, this is a representation of what the golem of Prague looked like. Does that remind you of anything? Any Star Wars fans out there? Look, I am your father. Does it remind you of anything? I give you the golem of Prague. Bingo, Alden. Let's talk a little bit about the Dark Fleet. And you're going to have to listen to me and read between the lines because we're on YouTube. There's a book called Dark Fleet. You see it up there. I read it and made these notes for your consideration. Dark Fleet claims to reveal the naughty, some words you can't say on YouTube, but naughty, a naughty reptilian infiltration of the U.S. government, their secret space program, their slave colonies throughout the solar system. And this book claims to detail that Operation Paperclip, which enabled the Nadis and their reptilian partners to infiltrate the U.S. military-industrial complex, including NASA, including the CIA, that it reveals their interstellar spaceports in Antarctica and on Mars, their base on the moon, their alien technologies, including nanotechnology, anti-gravity propulsion, mass mind control, hyperdimensional teleportation capabilities, and shared testimonials from American and British so-called super soldiers who participated in the so-called 20 and back age regression programs reveal advanced space technology and that we have our own space armada that constitutes a counterbalance to the naughty Dark Fleet. Pete Hegseth couldn't have said it better himself. This book says that the Nadis didn't really lose World War II. They just made it appear that way in order to divert attention from their alliance with the reptilians, which is an ancient galactic civilization obsessed with conquest and domination. And after the surrender in 1945, the Nadis invaded the U.S. military complex, moved into policy-making positions in post-war America. They infiltrated aerospace companies. They infiltrated banking. They infiltrated the media. They infiltrated the U.S. government at its highest levels. Thank you, Anthony, for that $10 gift. I appreciate it so much. But the real target wasn't the U.S., it was the solar system. This book says that they have anti-grav propulsion, mass mind control, and hyperdimension teleportation capabilities. And the Nadis are using their newfound power, wealth, and influence to create a secret space program with interstellar spaceports, Antarctica, Mars, 11-story base, 11 stories on the moon, mining operations on Mars and Ceres, which is a moon of Mars, colonies in the solar system, And that the Nadis did this. They've used thousands of human slaves. They are trafficking them in their spaceships for work and for sexual exploitation. Here's the book cover. Testimonies from American and British super soldiers reveals that there's forces inside and outside the government that are resisting the Nadis in their attempts to achieve total domination of the planet and the solar system. That the U.S.-led space program, does that remind anybody of Space Force, has its own fleet of spaceships patrolling the solar system and pose a growing threat to the Nadi dark fleet. This all sounds strangely familiar to me. This all really sounds strangely familiar to me. We're told it's the Nadis, the Nadis, the Nadis, the Nadis. You heard Rabbi Laitman, and let me just ask you to consider. Whose agenda are these things really describing? I'm going to read you this list. You can look at this list if you're able to see it on your phone. Those of you that are watching me on a big TV. Somebody's out there watching me on some 60-inch. I bet I look good. Whose agenda does this describe that we know of here on Earth today without any chicanery? Who do we know has infiltrated the U.S. military-industrial complex? Who do we know that has infiltrated NASA? Who do we know that has infiltrated the CIA? Who do we know that is using nanotechnology? Who do we know that is using anti-gravity propulsion? Who do we know that is using mass mind control? Who do we know that has hyperdimensional teleportation capabilities as referenced by the rabbi himself? Who do we know that's trying to build a space armada to counterbalance the Nadi dark fleet? Who do we know that's an ancient galactic civilization, keep Rabbi Laitman's words in mind, obsessed with conquest and domination of planet Earth? Who do we know that moved into high policy-making positions in post-war America? Who do we know that has infiltrated banking, media, government? Who do we know uses human slaves? Who do we know that's involved in trafficking? Who do we know is involved in sexual exploitation without resorting to any kind of crazy thought? Who do we know? Who do we know? Now, if you want to stay with me, if you need to go, I get it, but I'm just getting started. Let's do a deep dive into this Dark Fleet book. And I'm going to list the things he says, and then I'm going to comment on some of the things that he says. You guys are picking up what I'm putting down. I appreciate that. So from the book, it's now become abundantly clear from the investigations and writings of several well-known sources that the human race is being controlled and managed by a race of alien beings that co-inhabit this planet. What did Rabbi Laitman say? Exactly that. Now, we've all believed from birth that we, the human race, possess Earth all to ourselves. But it now appears that we really share it with a powerful and hostile race that believe that they're trying to take it over and will. Thank you, Leah. Rabbi Laitman admitted it. And there is a federation now that's trying to deny the Nadis. And this book calls that federation the Atlans. That's really close to Aryans. I'm just saying, that's weird. It's weird. The Atlans or Aryans were highly evolved spiritually, had superior spacefaring technology and weaponry. Are they talking about World War II? They also used powerful electromagnetic technology. They talk about World War II. High-speed maglev supersonic rail systems crisscross the planet. And the Atlans or the Aryans knew there would be a counterattack, because the reptilians always preceded an attack with secret infiltration and sabotage from within. But I'm confused because Rabbi Laitman said that it was his people that are preceding an attack with secret infiltration, Jason Bourne's secret agents to sabotage from within. And it was Rabbi Laitman that said that they're creating a fifth column on Earth. What's a fifth column? It's an internal enemy, a group of people who undermine a larger group or nation from within, usually in favor of another group or nation. These activities can be overt or clandestine. And these clandestine fifth column activities involve acts of sabotage, disinformation, espionage, terrorism by secret sympathizers. This is exactly what Rabbi Laitman said. I'm so confused. They're saying it's the Nadis, but this guy's saying the Nadis are bad, but I'm so confused. And as we say what this guy says in the book, think about who we know does these things. Bingo, Ms. Invisible. These people are experts at abducting. Who's experts at abducting? They're experts at genetic hybridization. Who's experts at that? And like Rabbi Laitman said, they planted an army of human-appearing hybrid saboteurs. Rabbi Laitman said it. Now, according to this book, there was an attack a long time ago. Millions died. And many believe, according to this author, that the classical civilizations in Greece, with rich traditions, drama, literature, philosophy, religion, were these Atlans, maybe Aryans. There's no other explanation for the level of brilliance and sophistication exhibited by these scholars and philosophers at such an early date. And it needs to be understood that these reptilians are not really warriors in the true sense. They're much more sophisticated and highly scientific. They turn to a highly scientific approach to take over control of the earth, like Rabbi Laitman said. It might be called conquest from within. That's exactly what Rabbi Laitman said. And the Atlans, or the people that were to oppose them, made the job really easy by agreeing to take their mind and become new creatures. Old things passed away, all things becoming new. And this gave the invaders that Rabbi Laitman spoke of an open door. And it allows the process to be completely nonviolent. And speaking of John Lash, I did send him an email today. John Lash, John Lamb Lash, you know who he is. And John says that the archons are a species of inorganic beings that came into the solar system prior to the creation of Earth. They're cyborgs inhabiting the planetary system, an alien force that intrudes subliminally on the human mind and deviates our intelligence away from its proper and sane applications. Could this possibly be the mind of Christ of the New Testament? Because when you accept this, your mind is gone and you accept the mind of Christ. You are no longer you're a new creation. Even all thoughts are taken into captivity to this Christ figure. The Gnostics saw an alien species that piggybacks on the worst human failings. Psycho-spiritual parasites, exactly what Rabbi Laitman was describing. And John Lash says the real danger is not invading the planet, but invading our minds. because they can access human consciousness through simulation. We talked about simulation 2 or 3D programs ago. They can infect our imagination and use the power of make-believe or reframing to deceive us and confuse us. And they live vicariously through us. And then the author of this book, at least he gave credit, but a lot of his book is other people's writings. The brilliant Lisa Renee of Ascension Glossary. And Lisa Renee said that by engineering a labyrinth of self-enforced enslavement policies based on fear and intimidation, that's the Abrahamic matrix. You better do right, or there's a place called hell. People on earth are effectively enforcing their own enslavement, as well as the enslavement of the global family, by giving up their divinity, their sovereignty, and their freedom. And this is very effective for planetary invasion and takeover because it generates minimal resistance or revolt by the inhabitants who are unaware they're being invaded. The power elite operate the 3 main pillars of society: religion, finance, and academia. Who controls all of those in our world today? These pillars appear to be distinct, but they're really the same thing. They're just different manifestations that have the same goal: the manipulation of humans to create the death culture and enrich the controllers. And once you have control of finances, the controllers dominate the media and the press, create wars, use false medical practices to poison our bodies, tainted pharmaceuticals, including the cupcakes, chemtrails, etc. Who does this sound like? Lisa Renee, not me, but Lisa Renee says that these mind control techniques are implemented through what's called Armageddon software. Programmed into the receptive brain. Take every thought captive to obedience, it says. And it relies on planet-wide acceptance of patriarchal domination that is implicit in all the Abrahamic matrix, and enslavement. They use holographic inserts of alien technology to protect mind control archetypes and gets us to self-enforce our own enslavement through such hallowed institutions, Lisa Renee says, as the church, resulting in mind control brainwashing based on the inculcations of religious fear. All of the Armageddon fears are a form of the planetary biowarfare mind control programs to suppress and control human consciousness by propagating artificially generated false timelines, which are consciousness traps. That's called a fear frame. This is a type of soul recycling for creating worker bees to be subservient on this planet and perhaps even on other planets. And it also acts as a power source that can be generated and harvested. Back to the Nadis. According to this book, Dark Fleet, that it was in the 20th century that the reptilians were ready to use the Nadis for their final stage to enslave the human race on this planet. We already know who's trying to enslave the human race on this planet. Their first priority was to select a country or a racial group to work through. A group that could carry out their complex agenda of hybridization. Who's trying to hybridize? Artificial intelligence. Who's behind artificial intelligence? Who's poisoning the air, the food, the water? Who's behind mind control, wars, disasters, continuing the conditioning the populace? And of course, this author says they chose the Germans. John Lamb Lash would say, the evil Germans, to attain these goals. It was logical and tactical. And this author claims that the entire German army in World War II was an army of clones created by the reptilians. And they are disposable robotic monsters, demons, you might say, as J.D. Vance would say. Here's a picture crafted by an eyewitness of Operation High Jump. This is where, I mean, literally, this is funny. This is where Cynthia's dad was on, an aircraft carrier. This is what my dad was on, a destroyer. I would love to be able to see the hulls. And here's the saucers, well, kicking ass and taking names. This is supposed to be an eyewitness account of Base 211 in Antarctica. And by the way, Deutschland über alles means Germans over anything. Doesn't mean Germany over everything, just by the way. Here's our locations of industrial cities in the continent of Antarctica by ground penetrating radar. Romans up, that's a good idea. And here is what some people say is a naughty moon base. Interesting, huh? Here is what sure looks like a base on Mars. Also, the Nadis. It's the Nadis, ladies and gentlemen. It's always the Nadis, even though we know that this agenda is being carried out by somebody that's not Nadis. This is the stuff that Cynthia's brother's nightmares are made of. He sees these and he believes it's the Nadis. These are called Andromeda class. They can carry saucers, kind of like a big aircraft carrier in the sky. So, back to this book. Back to this book. As I talk about what this author's describing, ask yourself who is doing this on Earth right now. Maybe it's the Nadis, but who do we know is doing this type of stuff? Media control, mind control. Of high importance to this system, which he says are the Nadis, is control of all public media. Who has control of all public media right now? This arrangement is supported by psychological and psychiatric establishments in the major industrial countries, especially Germany and the United States. Who has control of the psychological, psychiatric facilities? And worry, because there's also Nadis under ice. Because from all indications, says the author, the Nadis, which began an alliance with the reptilians in the 1920s before Adolf Hitler came to power. And they say that Hitler was actually taken over by reptilians, and they controlled him and paved the way for him. And from 1922 to 33, financial and political connections were made for him by the reptilians. When he was elected chancellor, the Nadis were made aware of the reptilian base under 2 miles of ice in Antarctica. It was also revealed to them that this was to be their new home. And they would eventually join these reptilian compatriots in Antarctica and would be given spacefaring technology. And the reptilians had a chronovisor. They knew how the war would end. So the reptilians used the German chancellor to pave a fascist takeover of the planet. But who's really taken over the planet? This author says that the 160,000 legion of troops at Nuremberg were just part of an army of clones. And it was the reptilians that allowed the Nadis to develop advanced weaponry, rockets, jets, subs. And it was the reptilians that gave the Nadis anti-gravity propulsion, flying discs that unfortunately for them came too late for the Nadis to win the war. In 1938, the Nadis did a massive exploration and settlement of Antarctica. And it had to be the reptilians because it's impossible that a nation in a world war would spend such sums on an operation 6,000 miles across the ocean only 1 year prior to the invasion of Poland. And the author here gives us some disclosure. He says this suggests that the Antarctic project might have actually been of more importance to the Nadis than World War II itself was. And do you know that before the Nadis went to Antarctica, less than 400 people had ever been to Antarctica in the history of the world? What did the Nadis know, I ask you? Because your answer to that will frame everything that's happening today. The Nadis cloaked the mission in secrecy. The participants were siloed according to areas of expertise. It was a need-to-know basis. They were kept separately. The scientists had their own quarters separate from the ordinary crew. But even as the Wehrmacht rolled over Europe, the buildup of the Antarctica base continued. The demands of the war were not allowed to take away from the building of the Antarctic base, which I have to say, and you can decide for yourself why, does lend some real credence to the claim that Antarctica was more important than the war to the Nadis. Why? And they were able to scoop out an entire mountain, build a new refuge, completely camouflaged. And according to the Omega file, there was one ice cave there that was so big that it was 30 miles long, and it actually connected to a geothermal lake. The Nadi engineers constructed buildings that could withstand temperatures of negative 60 degrees. And the entire colony was built in the massive caverns 2 miles beneath the ice, yet with easy submarine access. Underwater, of course. And by mid-1943, as the tide of the war had changed, the Allies started to see increased submarine traffic. What's this? Increased submarine traffic in the South Atlantic. And at this point, the new Schwabenland development had been taken out of the control of Hermann Goering and given over to Heinrich Himmler. And it became an SS operation. Himmler, this is what the book says, Himmler focused on making Neuschwabenland a racially pure Aryan colony. He selected 100,000 young women, blonde, blue-eyed, hot, 2,500 Waffen-SS soldiers, to breed a new race to become the foundation of the city of Neu-Berlin. And according to researcher Rob Arndt, after the war, the Allies were able to determine not only were these nearly 500,000 of Germany's elite gone, but 54 U-boats were missing from Nazi Germany. Up to 250,000 people were unaccounted for from Nazi Germany, including the entire SS technical branch, including the entire Frill and Thule societies, and nearly 10,000 scientists and technicians. Could this be the last battalion? And by the way, it was the SS technical branch that was responsible for the manufacture of the anti-gravity discs. Clearly, most of them ended up in Antarctica. And this explains how the Nazis were able to kick Admiral Byrd's ass. And the population of Neu-Berlin today is estimated to be about 2 million. Wow. Let's talk a minute about UFOs. What do we know about UFOs? Well, we know that the German anti-gravity disc technology advanced rapidly after Himmler took it over in 1943. And they built 3 working models of the now famous Malibu type. That's the bell-shaped craft. It was actually powered by something called the Kohler converter, which was based on the Tesla coil. And the motor converted Earth's gravitational energy into electromagnetic power, but it could also extract energy from the ambient vacuum in outer space. The Malibu 1 was a 2-man ship. They went up to very large. And then there's, according to this book, Nadis on the moon. A researcher named Vladimir Terziski says that they did complete the anti-gravity propulsion and that the discs were developed in the 1940s. And the rocket craft was built in diameters of 15 and 50 meters. And it was designed as an interplanetary exploration vehicle. And Terziski, a brilliant man, achieved a moon landing as early as 1942. According to Terziski, the first landing on the moon was by the Nadis at Mare Imbrium on August 2nd, 1942 at 11:26 using a Metha rocket. The first man that walked on the moon was Kapitan Lieutenant Werner Thiesenberg of the Kriegsmarine, or the Navy. And the landing took place without any radio contact, no telephones by the president. And by the end of the war, there was a Nadi research base on the moon and has been ever since. That's what he says. And it was the Nadis who planned to take over American banking, media, military, and aerospace. Can I ask you who has actually taken those over? So why did the Nadis invade Russia instead of England and America? They wanted to keep the American industrial superstructure and economy intact. But there's Nadi infiltration of America. And it's the Nadis that have a fifth column infiltration. But Rabbi Laitman said it was them. Rabbi Laitman said it was them. Let's talk for a minute about the Eisenhower meeting. You've all heard about that Eisenhower meeting, right? President Eisenhower was said to have met with an alien contingent at Holloman Air Force Base. By the way, Alamogordo, New Mexico. And he made an agreement with them. Or did he? My research tells me that he received a warning so terrifying that it caused a nervous breakdown, which implicated him for weeks. Let me tell you what my opinion is the lie. The lie is that Eisenhower entered into an agreement with these aliens, which I think were probably Aryans, which permitted the abduction of humans on a limited basis, with full reports going back to our government in exchange for advanced technology. But as they always do, these aliens broke the agreement and almost immediately began large-scale abductions without reporting. Who do we know that's been doing the abducting? Not the Nadis. They also used MyLab, military abductions. MyLab stands for military abduction. Dr. Helmut Lammer of the Austrian Space Research coined the term. And he says that many times UFO witnesses are subsequently, after they're abducted by so-called aliens, they get abducted by humans in military uniforms, kind of like they're working together. That's why they've been called reabs, reabductions. There's always unmarked black helicopters involved. The victims are drugged or disoriented by a strong electromagnetic field, just like the stuff we have in the Dulce base. During their military abduction, they receive implants. And these biolabs seem to be monitoring and abducting people to keep a lid on the alien abduction phenomenon. And strangely enough, these MyLabs are different from regular alien abductions because they only happen in the USA. Dark unmarked helicopters, strange vans or buses showing up outside houses of abductees, disorienting electromagnetic fields, drugging, move to underground military facilities. Who do we know that's doing it for real? During legitimate alien abductions, the beings appear through closed windows or walls. The abductees feel mental takeover. But in MyLab abductions, the kidnappers break down the doors and give them shots. And as you've seen this and understood this, MyLab abductees report that they get examined from human doctors, different from the description of UFO abductees. Many experts now feel, and I think they're probably right, that the majority of abductions are actually performed by the military and programmed life forms. I'm going to show you this so you could look at it later if you want. Screenshot it. There's a big study right there. There's a big study right there. This is deep. We might as well get it all in. So in the Eisenhower speech, he said, "There's a conjunction of immense military establishment and a large arms industry. It's new in an American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, state house, and office of the federal government." Who's doing that today that we know? We recognize, he said, the imperative need for this development. That's a hidden command. We recognize the need for this development. We must not fail, that's a hidden command, to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resource, and livelihood are all involved. This is the very structure of our society. These are hidden commands. He warned of someone taking over the powers of America. The author of this book says it's the Nadis. Who do we know right now that actually holds this power? If you want a fun little exercise, look at the heads of finance, look at the heads of Hollywood, look at the government, but the cabinet, the senators, the congressmen, look at the figures in pharmaceuticals, look at the figures in vaccine technology. Wouldn't it be weird if you saw one group really crazily overrepresented? I wanted to show you this because this is Victor Terinsky. He's the one, Bulgarian born, graduated cum laude, that means with honors, with a Master of Science from a university in Tokyo, which ain't hard, which ain't easy. He was a solar energy researcher at the Bulgarian Academy of Scientists. He speaks English, Japanese, Russian, German, and Bulgarian, and he attained his Master's of Science at a university in Tokyo. He's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. And he came into possession of a German documentary film that described the Nadi V-7 special weapons programs, the circular aircraft, the development of radical new weapons that could rise and descend vertically, fly at supersonic speeds at very high altitudes, could use a electrostatic force for power. They had their own electrogravitation field, neutralize the Earth's natural gravity, making them weightless. They used Haunebu anti-gravity disc. There was 4 models. The largest could hold a crew of 200. And it was he who said the first Nadi trip to Mars was a joint German-Japanese mission. And knowing now the high technological expertise of the Japanese makes the Axis alliance easily understood. He said that this craft was powered by Andromeda tachyon electromagnetic engines. It had 3 gun turrets on the bottom and 1 on the top of the crew. I would invite you to reread Revelation 19 with this in mind. And he said the big crew was needed because people still had to work controls then. It wasn't automated. Here is a Haunebu 3. Here is a Haunebu 3. And Trzynski said it was a suicide mission, but it really wasn't a suicide mission. It was just a mission they knew they would never return from. So it was a one-way mission. And the crew and the passengers had made a determination to remain on Mars and found a human colony. Why would you send hundreds of the Nadi's best and bravest to die on Mars? And this again underlines the idea that the Nadi commitment to the resistance cause extended far beyond World War II. The trip to Mars, according to this expert, took 8 months. They escaped Earth's gravitational pull, turned off the tachyon engines, and basically coasted the rest of the way. It's also plausible that they went through a wormhole, and the Nadi Mars colony officially began in January of 1946. Let me show you a couple of actual pictures here. By 1975, they've had a huge facility known as Ares Prime. About 90% of it's underground. Mars is the astrological ruler of Aries. Wandering reality, very interesting. The Germans respect astrology, and this city became the grand central station of the human presence on Mars. And this is, if you look at it, it sure looks like a damn city on Mars. It sure looks like a big city on Mars. And by the way, here's a book called Das Mars Project. And if you note, the author was one Werner von Braun. Back to the Dark Fleet book. It's likely that the fleet was initially staffed with soldiers who came through the rat lines to Argentina and on the large submarines. It's known that Himmler took steps to ensure that all the immigrants to Antarctica were of pure Aryan descent. They'd all been genetically screened. And even this author asserts that the Nadis pioneered, and I would add, have no doubt continued to perfect, medical techniques that are now considered miraculous here on Earth. And this is the origin of the med bed and Gesera ideas. And Christians will be astounded to learn that the resurrection of the dead is also a common procedure. Not by the Nadis, but by the Abrahamic forces. The Abrahamic forces. Confirmation of this is in the New Testament itself. Are you ready? You're not ready, but I'm going to show you anyway. Look at this. Romans 8:11. But if Christ is in you, your body is dead because of sin, yet your spirit is alive. if you adhere to our doctrine, which we call righteousness. And then it says, if the Spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead is living in you, he who raised Christ Jesus from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through his Spirit who lives in you. How does his Spirit come into you? He stands at the door and knocks. You have to open, just like Dracula, even like Hannibal Lecter. You have to ask him, is this the eternal life that you thought you were getting? In a cryptic note in Dark Fleet, says that the victims can only be created under certain ideal conditions. Are these conditions detailed in Romans 8:11? If you accept the Spirit, very interesting. Dark Fleet also tells us that 20 and back victims, I call them victims because these people that think they were in a 20 and back scenario really weren't. They've been MK Ultra'd, in my opinion. They had smart suits, likely pirated from reverse engineered naughty tech and likely not measuring up in quality or effectiveness. But they protect the wearer from bullets, from energy weapons. Nanotech is built into the suits, and when you turn it on, you can run faster, you can jump higher like Steve Austin, the $6 Million Man. The helmet can teleport you anywhere. Lock in Google Maps coordinates, boom, you're there. It can make you seen and unseen. Don't know how much of this is true, but some of it is. You can even fly a spacecraft just by thinking. Isn't it interesting that's exactly what the movies and television are showing us today? And who runs the movies and television? Check that list out. You might be really surprised. Tom Cruise. And isn't her name Emily something? I forget the name of that movie. It's the one where he kept dying and getting reborn, dying, getting reborn, dying, getting reborn. Look at the suit. There's also a helmet that does everything that is described. And the technology is also used to inflict torture. Dark Fleet 20 and back victims say the Nadis don't hesitate to torture, maim, and kill even children. That they use blackmail based on comprehensive personal surveillance records. They use blackmail. Victims claim the Nadis create and sell sex slaves and use them to get cooperation for their missions. Well, the author says the Nadis do this, but can I ask you, who do we know that behaves in exactly these ways today here on Earth? Real human beings cannot torture and abuse children. It's not in human DNA. But it is in the DNA. Is it in the DNA created by the Abrahamic collective? And by the way, have you ever noticed the two creations in the first chapters of the book of Genesis and their differences? There's two creations. Read Genesis 1, read Genesis 2, read Genesis 3, and you'll see two creations. Have you ever wondered why? You might want to look into this. You might. If you remember Total Recall, the original with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sharon Stone, released in 1990, talks about exactly this type of technology. It's based on a 1966, there's a 666 there, story written by Philip K. Dick. Philip K. Dick, Peter Thiel. And this is me. We're out of the book now here. So many of Philip Dick's novels and short stories have become prophetic, and they've been woven into Hollywood films. Could Mr. Dick have had some sort of subconscious pipeline to actual secret and future events? Think about Minority Report, the movie. Blade Runner, the movie. Screamers, the movie. A Scanner Darkly, the movie. And perhaps most prophetic of all, The Man in the High Castle. What if the role of hero and villain had been deliberately inverted in these films and in these stories? And by the way, Philip K. Dick was known to be an admirer of the German cause. The Man in the High Castle. Worth a watch. This book talks about the slave trade in the solar system. Well, what about the slave trade on Earth, right here and now? Are we being fed some potentially inverted data about this subject? Just like on Earth, the Nadis, they say, depend on slavery to advance their aims. And this dependence on slavery by the Nadis comes from their original star system built into their DNA. Who have we been told? Who do we know that does these things? Who do we know today who does these things? The author says the Nadis are literally a different species. What did Rabbi Laitman say? They have no compassion for humans. What did Rabbi Laitman say? Who do we see today, if we see anyone, right here on Earth, and even in these last deprograms, the Epstein deprogram, the Hackman deprogram, who do we see right here on this Earth, even in these last deprograms on this channel, employing these tactics? Do you need a secret space program? Do you need 20 and back? Do you need super soldiers? Do you need people fighting spiders on Mars? Or is that to distract you from looking at the world today and asking yourself, who do I see doing this right now, right here on planet Earth? If you haven't watched this deprogram, go back and watch it. You will see people doing these things right here, right now on planet Earth. They're trying to make demons out of people from another place. And someone said earlier in the chat that if you believe in demons, you have to believe in angels. What if there are beings coming that will act in demonic ways? What if there are demons coming, or there are beings coming that will act in angelic ways? And what if we're being fed roles through a media that has inverted them and projected their own actions onto other people? And if you'll notice, it's only the people and always the people from the Abrahamic matrix that are projecting things that are manifestly happening in the Abrahamic matrix on other people. Let me give you a little addendum. This needs to be added on because people ask the question, what about Iran? Portals and stargates. Some are claiming that Iran has stargates and that the reason that we're over there in Iran is to take control of these stargates. And these stargates are part of a larger planetary grid system. You can believe what you want to believe, but research, all of my research shows that these aren't supported by published scientific evidence. No archaeological findings, no official records. They blend ancient astronaut theories and this secret space program, 20 and back, Dark Fleet lore. And some people say that's why we're in Iran. Newsweek reported that theories into U.S. rationale behind both the 2003 invasion and the current Epstein Fury. A lot of explanations floated, departing from official lines, saying that they're going there to take over stargates that are by this famous ziggurat. We'll give the name on the next page. Our conspiracy on Reddit shows the Great Ziggurat of Ur, and says this is the real reason we invaded Iraq. The ancient alien Stargate portal. That's the real reason we invaded Iraq. To get these Stargates. Hypothetical devices that allow for rapid travel. No scientific evidence to back this up, but is it a distraction? Is it a distraction? Stargate 10. And this is a little bit interesting because these people claim it's a major energetic portal in Abadan, Iran, close to the Iraq border. Its similarity to the biblical Abaddon, which some correlate to Donald Trump, a bad Don, at least makes it interesting in a day where a sitting vice president is publicly stating that all aliens are demons. So they allege the wars are about controlling these sites. There's possible links to off-world trafficking, breeder programs, hybridization. Do you have to look to space for these things? Why don't you look around while we're still down here on the ground, what's going on here, and see if you might be able to find some of those things first. It is interesting from the Christian whistleblower's perspective, that's me, to note that some of these versions incorporate Christos and solar logos language, but the core does draw more from the New Age Gnostic channel material. Here's Paul White Eagle from X saying that a Stargate in Iran could literally change Earth's future. It's more than politics. Iran sits on Stargate 10. And the Iran war started during a 6 celestial body alignment. Vision for the Blind says the parliament building in Iran is a giant pyramid with 33 windows. Here's an artist's depiction of that portal they say is there at the Great Ziggurat. And our old friend Kerry Cassidy says Iran having nukes is BS. It's a war to control the Stargates. There's several in Iran, in the Strait of Hormuz. Hey, Jama. And of course, right when he starts talking about demons, aliens are demons, J.D. Vance comes out with a book, My Journey Back to Faith. It should have been said led by a homosexual philandering billionaire. And you can pre-order it today. That was a long journey. But I think we connected some dots that are not likely to be connected in many other places. Not likely to be connected in many other places. Somebody was asking me repeatedly, what do I think in the chat? This deprogram really isn't about what I think. I have no desire to tell you what I think because I don't want you to believe because of what I said. Because unless it comes to you through your own volition, it doesn't mean anything. I've always said I bring you to water, but you have to drink. I bring you to information and invite you to think. Wow, right? Wow. I know we've been here a long time, but I will open up the phone lines because I promised I would. All I ask is that you be polite, that you be interesting, and if you fail to be either one, it just takes me a hot minute to bounce you off the phone line. And I've been known to do so. But I will open up the phone lines and give you a chance to call in. Again, just be polite. Just be interesting. That's all you have to do. All I have to do is find my Google Voice. It's not as easy as you think. For some reason, for me, maybe it's because I've been on air for so long. Let me just go up here and type it in again. Google Voice. Where are you, Google Voice? There you are. All right. Get ready, but don't call yet, because I'm going to go take a short little break. I'm going to cue up that awesome super galactic tune. And after that, we'll be right back to open up the phone lines. You're listening to Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. And we will be right back after this brief little musical interlude.
That you chose to see through eyes that measured.
Now that's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. All right. Let's open up those phone lines. What do you say? Come on. I'm actually getting a little bit tired. Okay. Oh, I don't want to show you that. Well, I guess I'm going to have to just go to this. All right.
Who taught you?
Who taught you? 913-228-2586 if you want to call in. I won't hang along too long, hang around too long.
You didn't gain. You accepted.
But I want to give you a shot to call in. I want to give you a shot to call in.
It was perception fracture. You were already gone.
So you know you're already gone. 913-228-2586. I will be back on Sunday. We'll start at 7 p.m. on the Central Time. That'll be 8 p.m. in the East, and that'll be 5 p.m. in the Pacific. So, boy, a full 3-hour deprogram. That hasn't happened since the days of Late Night in the Heartland. I felt it was important to get that all out in a unit. That was a very comprehensive deprogram. It gives you the information you need to connect all the dots. And I hope that you will do so. Why am I not hearing this? Hold on, Steve. I'm not getting the right deal. For some reason I can't hear you right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. You're with me. Go ahead. I'm going to turn you up.
Oh, all right. Yeah, well, that was a long one. Well,
it was, wasn't it?
Well, all right. Well, I hope it happens someday. Pretty much running out of time.
We are running out of time, and the Christians and, all Abrahamics want to believe that somebody's going to come back and save them. I don't think we can look to somebody to come back and save us, but we can look for help once we start doing something ourselves. So I think it's incumbent upon us to rise up and do, and then once this force could see us rising up and doing, we'll get some assistance. But if we're going to sit around and wait for our own personal Jesus to come, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. I'm probably going to be jumping timelines in a few days here, so it's going to be interesting as hell.
What does that mean?
I'm going to have to leave my present situation once again in the same way that I always do.
I'm sorry to hear that. I know you like that situation up there.
Mm-hmm.
But let me ask you this, brother. Even if I'm wrong, and we start remembering who we are, and we start doing things to break ourselves out of this Abrahamic matrix, even if it's wrong, and we go out in a fight of glory, would you rather go out that way? Would you rather continue to live the way that we're being forced to live right now?
I'm pretty close to going out that way, closer every day. So I guess that's what I'd rather do.
I'm reminded of the words, the name will come to me that was quoted in the movie Oblivion. I showed that other Tom Cruise movie, but Horatio said, everybody dies. The thing is to die well. And how much better can a man die than facing impossible odds for the ashes of his fathers and the temples of his gods?
One of my favorites.
I say light it up, my brother. Light it up.
I try to every day. All right. Y'all take care out there. Thanks for being there.
You're an inspiration, sir. Keep it up. We need you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Great call from the Dakotas. Why are we asking about Gene? We talked about Gene on the last program. I think maybe the Gene thumbnail got up on some of the channels, but I do notice that it's up on other places. So maybe that's what we're talking about. But you got the right thumbnail. You know what's going on. And I want to make it very clear that we're not waiting for somebody to come back and save us. We've got to take action ourselves, or we're not worthy of help. That's my conviction. That's my conviction. Well, we did talk about Gene a little bit, and you saw pictures of Gene. How much Gene do you want? Were you thinking Gene the dancing machine? What is this, the Gong Show? So Sunday, 7 p.m., we're going to break out the birth certificate deprogram that so many of you have been wondering about. Is he going to do it? And it's not going to be what you think it is, but man, it is going to be, I think, probably the definitive discussion of this subject, and it is going to blow your minds. Let me show you the thumbnail that we've prepared. Here's the thumbnail we've prepared. Boom. Birth certificates filed at birth. Why? I'll probably make every single one of you mad, but I think those that are true students and not advocates of particular viewpoints will be made glad. And that's kind of what I do, if you haven't noticed. So there's a lot of imagery in that thumbnail. That one I didn't make. That was made by my girlfriend at ChatGPT. So that's coming up on Sunday, folks. That's coming up on Sunday. And I'll leave you with that. And I'm going to go ahead and close down the phone lines at this moment. And thank you for the comment on the lighting. I saw it. I appreciate it. So we're going to close down those phone lines. And we're going to look forward to Sunday coming up. I may even sneak in a bonus deprogram between now and then. I got to try to figure out why we didn't go out live over Goyim tonight. I was really hoping that we would. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be pretty spectacular. 7 p.m. on Sunday, Central Time. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you like the show, please like it. If you hated it, please give it a thumbs down. We need to defeat this evil algorithm. And before I go, I just want to remind you that, have you ever considered that you weren't filled with original sin? Have you ever thought that maybe you'd have the spark of divine within instead? And have you ever wondered about rather going on your knee to somebody else's Savior, if you might think about standing divine, sovereign, and free? I've been telling you for 12 years that we're the last generation of real humans. For about 10 of those, you asked me, what do I mean? Now you know. And I'm still convinced, as challenging as things are here, that this world, our world, is going to be better than it's ever been. And it'll be sooner than any of us can imagine, because we have discovered who we are. We are the last generation of real humans. We have a fight, and we have the last battalion waiting to support us in our efforts. We will win. This is our world, and we will fight for it. And not only that, we've got a little thing coming to us. Thank you, James. I know you have. Miss Invisible's optimistic. We have a little thing coming to us called retribution. I'm Jeffrey Dar, the Christian Whistleblower. I'll see you again on Sunday, maybe in between. We got work to do. And we got some retribution coming as well. I'll see you soon.
Retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution!